What's going on, everybody? This is Phil from Small Town Titans, and you are listening to Chris and Dave on the Furlough Podcast.
Oh, you gonna take me home tonight? Oh, down beside that red firelight. Oh, you gonna let it all hang out? Fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
Damn, I love that song. They
Guys
did a
got
great they did a great job at it.
Ain't no doubt about it.
Hey, before we forget, let's hit that old number 2 right there, so let everybody know who we appreciate the most.
Here we go. Here we go.
This is the Furlough Podcast, brought to you by All American Ford in Aniana, Alabama. Stop by and see John Makovica and his team today.
All right, 2 of my favorite people,
That's right.
Sweet Amber and John Makovica.
I don't know who that girl is. She got a sexy voice.
Welcome back, man. We hit a quick show last week, and then I brought in the heat for Saturday.
That's right.
Yeah, she if anybody didn't see the video, you need to go check out the video on YouTube. Brought in the killer, the old finisher, if you will.
Well said. The old off the shoulder shirt, and you never know if a titty's gonna pop out.
That's
Right.
I'm sure everybody was sitting there and waiting patiently.
Well,
She's moving around quite a bit.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So she, what are they call it, a cooler in Vegas? Somebody
I think the heater. Is that right? Sitting on the heater.
Yeah, sitting on the heater.
Yep.
Well, we brought that in, but man, last week when we left out of here last week, we went to go see a good friend of ours, Joe. Everybody knows Joe that used to be on the show from time to time. He's delved into the world of acting
And did very well.
and did very well. He was in his very first play on Saturday, well, actually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we got to see him on Friday. We chose the second day that he was doing his show. Give him a chance to get the jitters out, in case he had any. But he didn't seem to have any.
No, he had a tremendous amount of confidence. His projection of his voice and everything was really right on point.
Yeah, he was. I think he dug that character because I hope he doesn't get typecast. But he has that authoritarian. He's playing that domineering role, which he really really digs. I mean, he tries to play that role in life a little bit. He tries to come across that way when he gets wound up and whatnot. But it was
Maybe if 50 Shades of Grey has a fourth movie.
He could play it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
He'd probably do a good job.
So let me tell you the one thing. I have to interject this, and I haven't shared this with you yet. But so the way it was set up was the crowd was set up in like a half moon shape.
Right.
And then the stage kind of came into the middle, right?
Right.
So we were sitting front row, of course, and then directly across that U shape was another couple, an older couple. And I'm going to tell you, this motherfucker, this guy had this laugh, and they were speaking in British accents, because it was Shakespeare.
Right.
And so this guy, I don't know if he wanted everybody to think that he was a Shakespearean or what this dude's deal was, but he laughed like shit was like Dave Chappelle was on the stage.
Right.
And I'm like, come on, dude, reel that shit in. It's not that funny. It's about 200 years old. The jokes are old. Okay. I mean, Jesus, this guy.
Well,
do you know who I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about. And the reason why I know you're talking about because I addressed it with Joe.
Oh.
And apparently that is the guy that put on the play. That's his significant other.
Okay, now it makes sense. I was like, what the fuck, this guy? Huh? Was this the first time you heard these jokes, these lines?
He's being supportive, man. He wants to puff the.
Tone it down, dude. Okay. I mean,
well, maybe
not that funny. It's Shakespeare. He didn't just write this shit last week. It's old. Okay.
Maybe. Maybe he thoroughly enjoyed it.
Maybe he did, but I mean, he acted like some of the lines just caught him off guard. I mean, like he was genuinely surprised by some of the lines.
Well, being the significant other of the guy that put on the thing, you would think he would know most of the act that was going on.
That's my point. Exactly. That's all. and that was just it was a minor nuisance, and it really didn't bother me. He just stood out.
He stood out.
Overall, it was actually it was a pleasant night.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's one of those things that it's almost an infectious situation. You want to, pump the crowd up, if you will. So it's almost like if you go to a comedy event and this table over here is laughing, that table over there is laughing. If you got a few different tables laughing, it sure does help kind of bring the chuckle out of everybody else. It just kind of blands out on you. Maybe that was the thought behind it.
I get it, and I probably downplayed it. I think it's 400 years old. Okay, I just want to say the shit's not new. That's all I'm saying.
Well, hey, what about this? What'd you think about Juliet?
Juliet now.
That
Let me
girl
tell you about that.
She's got some chops, son.
Boy, what you say.
Yeah,
So listen.
That girl's got...
Ooh-wee.
I don't know why she's not in a bunch of stuff. I mean,
Right?
that girl brought the heat.
Mhm.
First of all, beautiful girl, real pretty face. And the amount of lines that she had to know,
Mhm.
holy fuck, she didn't seem to skip a beat.
No. She had a genuine English accent.
Oh, yeah, she's British. Her mom... Is her mom? One of her parents is from Britain.
Right.
I can't remember if it's her mom or if it's dad, and I hate to say it's one or the other and screw that up, but she, when we were sitting there, she said that one of her parents were from Britain. Dude, she
smashed
the fuck out of it. I need to find out from Joe other things that she's doing locally, because I'd like to see her do a different something besides Shakespearean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. She isn't the type of woman that I would walk down the street and just be like, "Hey, Chris, look at this." But in that setting, she had me sit up and pay attention. She she carried it, she owned it, and it was very sexy.
Oh man, yeah, she seemed genuine in the part.
Genuine and comfortable.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
so,
and that voice, man, I don't know. That voice had me paying attention.
That English accent?
Yeah, man,
Listen, have you ever dated an English woman?
No.
I have.
Have you?
Yeah. And everything anytime I did anything, everything was bloody hell all the time. That shit all the time. But to me, the sexiest thing is when they say water or little things like that.
Really?
Oh God! You tell me you want a glass of water, pants are flying off. To me that is the sexiest, and I don't know why that is. That sound of water with an English accent, boy. And it was just, I don't know. Everybody has their thing.
Maybe we ought to get her in here and
talk about water.
Talk about water and see how you react.
Yeah, do that. And if you put her in a nun outfit, it's game over.
It's
because
game over.
Those are my two fetishes: a British accent and a nun.
What would you do if you went to a costume party and a chick walked up that was sexy and started in a nun outfit, sexy nun outfit, and started talking British?
I mean, it'd be obvious. I mean,
as you're dropping your pants.
I don't know how to drop my pants, but I can guarantee you I'd be full erect. I know that. And it was just, that's just it. I'd be walking around with an erection the rest of the night. So
following her around.
Yeah. Hopefully I'd be dressed as a priest because I just had that little blanket on me. Little robe.
little robe.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. But no, they did great, man. There was I think the guy that played the lead did an awesome job too. And it fascinates me that they can remember that depth of line, because if you're doing an act, say in a TV show or even in a movie, you have takes, you know what I'm saying? You have a chance to do it more than once. You have a chance to somebody say, if you drop a line, somebody can give it to you and they can, you can film it and fix it and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, you got it hanging. It's like comedy.
Mm-hmm.
You got it. You're out there hanging in the wind, son.
But let me tell you why it's more difficult than comedy, because they don't use the same vernacular as we do.
Right.
They use not only a different accent, but their sentence structure during that time frame is just different.
But even in any play, let's say it's a To Kill a Mockingbird. Something that's not in a European or a
But it's not, again, it's not just the accent, just their sentence structure.
sentence structure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just so different that it's kind of like if I start to say something, you could probably finish my sentence. That over there, it's just a different
Right.
lingo, everything.
Didn't she touch on that? She said it was like poetry to her, so it was
Mhm.
very easy for her to.
I think she said that it rhymed or it was poetry or something like that, and so it flowed.
It made her easy to remember.
Yeah, but she killed it. Absolutely killed it.
3 hours. What do you think about that 3 hours? I soft flowed that to you. I didn't.
Well, no, I'll be honest with you. It didn't. Thank God they had the intermission,
Mhm.
but it wasn't as difficult as I anticipated going in to a 3 hour play.
Yeah, for everybody that doesn't know, is I snuck that in on old Dave. It's like you get anybody to do something. You feed them a little bit, you feed them a little bit more. And
You
then
wait till I'm in the parking lot
Yeah,
before you
yeah,
hit me
yeah.
with.
He's like, oh, by the way, he's like, this thing's gonna be 3 hours. 3 hours? Holy fuck!
Yeah, I
3 hours.
come on, man. But no, it wasn't. It really wasn't bad. I enjoyed it, and hopefully he gets something else.
Right.
And I don't know that it'll. I don't know that he's going to have the next one in the basement of a church with a Narcotics Anonymous right outside.
You goddamn, you got me. You beat me to the punch because I was like, for
Caught me
everybody
off guard, man.
yeah, that caught you way off guard. So everybody that know, we come strolling up, and just like Dave, I've had some colorful people in my life, and as we're strolling up, I see these people lined up to the other end of the church, and I was like, that's got to be AA or narcotics. And there's a security guard sitting out there because it's not the shining light of the community anymore area.
No.
And to be polite about it. So we walk up, make sure we're going in the right door, and even though I kind of knew what was up, or I had an assumption what was up, my little buddy Dave here gets the old guard up, goes, well, who are these guys? Because he's like, yeah, y'all go in that door. He goes, who are these guys? He goes, Narcotics Anonymous.
Yeah.
I know. He goes, NA. And you were like, what the fuck's that?
Yeah, well, he hit me with an acronym, dude. Just tell me what it is.
Well, I think he didn't want to put anybody on blast that could hear,
I'm very naive to many aspects of the world. I really am. And
for somebody that has a colorful history that you do, you're naive.
I'm not a drug guy. That's
Yeah.
that's not a world I've ever delved in, and
Yeah.
so it was new to me, and so that's why I had to go up like a child and probe and ask. I didn't know.
I appreciate your
Innocence.
your innocence of asking him. It was just the way you're just like, ho hum, what's up? Yeah, who are all these people? It remind me of my late buddy Mark. Mark had that naivety in some of the things or he would come across as naive. I think he was a lot more versed, in things, but he would stroll up just like that, and he'd just kind of sort of kick the rock a little bit and go, hey, what's going on over here?
Well, I have learned in life that if you don't ask, you don't inquire, and that's why I'm very comfortable speaking in front of groups, speaking to strangers. I've always been comfortable. So I'll tell you, and I didn't plan on even telling this story, but I went to a festival, and I won't mention it. But so I used to carpool with these two guys for the previous job, and they were telling me about a festival that was in the woods, deep in the woods. And I said, and I'm not even going to name
They
it.
didn't have any fresh linens in the back, did they?
No. So they said they convinced me. We worked together for years and years. So every year it would come and they would say, Dave, you got to come. And I said, listen, it doesn't sound like something that would appeal to me. So after about 3 years, I go, you know what? I'll go. I'll go this one time.
Was it just an annual event?
It was an annual event one time. Okay. And so it's deep in the woods, and it's a sketchy group of people, and it's thousands of people. So we're drinking, we're drinking the whole way there.
Right.
We're drinking at the event, and they kept bringing me beers, bringing me whiskey, whatever. So I go, hey guys, I got it. I don't know where the drinks were coming from. They were just appearing with them. So I go, guys, listen, don't worry about it. I got the next round. So I go stand in a line, and there's a line that's going into a tent, and the line is not moving. And I'm like, Jesus, what's going on around here? So I talked to the guy in front of me, and I go, "Hey, this is the beer line, right?" He goes, "No, this is the line to stand in to get your dick sucked." He goes, "The beer line is over there." The beer line had only like 10 people in it. This line had like 50 people in it.
Where?
And I'm like, "What the?" Twice in my life, I've stood in line to get my dick sucked. I mean,
Oh, so you didn't get out of line.
well, no, I mean, I was committed at that point. What was I going to do? Get out of line? Lose my place?
I find
I didn't.
I find it fascinating that you find yourself in these situations.
I didn't. Now,
Like-
that one was a mistake. That was complete innocence. So, what happened is it was a very small tent that you walk in, they'll do it, and then there's a flap in the back, and you go out the back. So, they were very. There must have been someone that had worked in lean management because it was a very efficient
Very
flow.
efficient. Like, they didn't want any buckling.
No,
Well,
no,
they didn't.
it was a very. It was incredible, the whole thing. But since I was in line, I thought, I'm gonna go ahead and get the full experience, and so
Oh,
I
yeah.
just did it. But it was that one. That one was an accident.
All
I'll
right.
tell you that one.
Had to be.
So they were frustrated. It took me so long. I told them I got in the wrong line.
Oh,
And so,
you
yeah.
weren't. You had to get mentally prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got in. Then I got back into the beer line, got the beer, and went and met my buddies.
There you go.
But anyways, I don't know how we got into all that, but I have learned to ask questions. Is my point,
Right.
So and
There you go. Well, it's obviously paid off for you.
it has indeed.
That's fair.
Most people have never stood in a dick sucking line, and somehow I find myself in that situation.
Oh,
twice.
which reminds me. I have a good friend. I'm not going to say his name on the air, but he texted me. He was listening to Friday's show, and apparently you were talking about
That time I stood in the other line.
Yeah, that time you stood in the other line, and he sent me a thing. He goes, I just listened to the show. I have so many questions.
Well, most people do have questions. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
And if you
it's
have
an
questions,
unbelievable story.
yeah, and if you have questions, make sure you send them to the furloughpodcast@gmail.com or give us a call because we'll be glad to hear it. 205-779, was that 8474? I think that's our number. I don't call us very much, but Dave would be glad to field any questions.
Oh, sure, I'll field them. Hell, I'll tell you what. If they're safe to play on air, we'll play them on air.
Yeah.
And then I'll give you an answer.
Give you a good answer for your question.
Yeah. But anyways, I may have taken us off track slightly with that.
No, that was good. That was good. I mean, the only other thing I've been sitting out thinking about is not that standing in line thinking about it, but you see Paige Van Zant's Instagram picture on her arm?
I did. Arm wide open, metal inside there.
I don't know what she did to her forearm. I think it was forearm is what it
Yeah.
was, but holy Jesus, man, that was some.
Yeah.
You can't show a nipple on Instagram, but damn, you can show a filleted open arm and the bones and some metal screws sticking in. Holy
trying to
shit.
tell you. Yeah.
Man, why I did the little uncovered thing, I was like, holy God.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. And and it was just a couple weeks prior to that she was doing an SI swimsuit shoot.
God. She was bringing it.
She brought the heat.
Oh my God. She is looking better, in my opinion, than when she first started. She's gotten a little thicker, and I don't know if she's been doing like her husband. I think it's her husband. Yeah, husband. Does obviously he's a fighter, great fighter, cross trains and does a lot of stuff. And I don't know if she's been working with him and maybe lifting a little bit more, but she's kind of thickening up, dude, and that's doing good stuff for her. I mean, she's always been beautiful, but man,
She is becoming more of a woman. I mean, she was a young girl when she came into the UFC.
That's fair to say.
And
That's
I'd
fair
say
to say.
she's becoming a woman now.
Yeah. Boy, is she.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know how long the UFC career, how much. I mean, when you're having surgeries,
Well,
and
I
you're
think she
getting opened
said
up like that.
I think she's got 2 more fights on contract. I may be saying that wrong, or she just wanted to do 2 more. And then obviously one was supposed to be like in a month or so, and obviously that one's canceled. I don't. It's got to be a while before you can heal from that. I mean. Man,
Yeah.
that was a piece of steel stuck in her arm. I don't even know what happened, but damn, went from elbow to wrist. It looked like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't Staples. It was like a solid piece of steel. I mean, it
Yeah.
was very bizarre.
Yeah, with screws shot in it. So she must have cracked her forearm or something pretty bad.
Yeah.
But in the X-ray thing, I didn't see. It didn't seem like it was a break. It was weird.
Yeah, and I don't remember her mentioning that on her Instagram or anywhere.
She's probably keeping it low key.
Yeah.
Sort of like Misha Tate went from long time engagement to no boyfriend to bam, I'm pregnant and married and all that stuff. Holy,
Is she
gee.
married?
Maybe I misspoke on that. I thought
Yeah.
she married that guy.
I don't know, but I mean, yeah, I know she went like from retirement to single to baby to all that.
Yeah.
You know, which is
She
crazy.
brings that heat too.
And I think she lives. Where's she at? In Brazil?
I have no idea.
Hmm.
I have no idea.
Because let me tell you something. What I've noticed is, if she was, I feel like she was in an Asian or South American.
She spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia,
Maybe that's what it is.
and I think that was
With
probably
Swick.
Was she with Swick?
I don't know. I thought she may have been out there.
Yeah. Well, I know that she spent a lot of time out there. In my opinion, was she was just trying to get away from her longtime boyfriend. You know, 'cause,
Oh yeah.
you know, I'm trying to get.
Forgot about that guy.
Yeah, just kind of create. She's from Seattle, I think.
Yep,
You know,
correct.
and so I think she was probably trying to create a lot of distance to really separate,
Yeah.
heal wounds and hers, or whomever's.
Yeah, that guy probably opened up his Instagram and was like, "Damn, this dude put a baby in you,
Yeah.
Jesus." So, yeah,
He got her in the fight game though.
right. Well, he's a fighter himself.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and poor guy, man, he just didn't. First of all, the pool wasn't as deep for her to swim in, to make a name for herself. To whereas his weight class, which I want to say is 170 or 185, that is a very deep pool of a lot of talent, and it's a hard area to stand out in.
Bunch of straight killers
Yeah.
hanging out and
Yeah.
swimming in that pool.
Yeah, and so she took off, and he didn't, and they probably deny it, but it had to create tension because they went from, I think they were like living in a RV and a van and doing this stuff, and then she hit it big and bought a house. I think they were showing stuff where they bought their first house, and this one everything was peachy and rosy, and then she rocked on, did very well, and then next thing you know, bam, no longer together.
Well, remember when her and Ronda Rousey were both on the Ultimate Fighter and they coached against each other.
Yeah, and that guy was on there with her.
He was on there with her, and I'm going to tell you, Ronda hit below the belt. She was chopping at that guy about him being a beta male and his ability to or lack of ability to fight, and how he needed Misha to protect him and all that.
Yeah, she was fucking with him hard.
Oh, that would hurt any man's ego.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's a superstar.
Right.
Misha, and nobody
And
knew.
he can't say nothing. He can't. He's
Right.
gonna. But did you hear what Misha said to him on that show?
I don't remember.
It was where they weren't training. They were in some room, and there was like a little mini bar and everything like that. And so Ronda was over there flirting with him, fucking with him a little bit. And Misha was across the room, and Misha says, "Just slap her on the ass one time or something like that."
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
that would cause a scene.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But the only reason people knew him was because of her,
Right.
and I think that probably weighed on him as a man.
It has to, whether you want to admit it or not. I mean, I'm sure he was proud of her and all that good stuff, it's like going back to Paige Van Zant's husband is a straight killer. He's Bellator. I think he's undefeated. He has no fear of being cast as the beta, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? They're on even ground as far as celebrity status.
But I think as far as straight aggression and natural ability, Paige Van Zant's husband is far above where Misha Tate's husband was, her boyfriend was.
Again, deep pool, but this guy can swim. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's my point. That's my point exactly.
This guy can swim.
If you get an eye tattoo in the middle of your neck, you're doing some shit. Okay, that's it, and that's what he's got. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
But I mean, the guy's doing some shit.
Yeah, he's
You know.
he's doing his thing, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I just, man, it's just got to be tough for the ladies, you know. But I think Paige is coming out. I think she's smart enough to see, sort of like Misha, that it's a short career span. So I think she's going to be going into a lot of modeling and probably some sort of business promotions or whatever.
Creating a brand for herself,
Right.
is what she's doing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she's getting picked up like a lot of these models and stuff like that for the drinks and the gear and all that good jazz. And
Oh yeah.
man, God, what a time to be a hot woman. You girls can make some money.
What you talking about?
Man, if
boy?
you're just willing to work out and post your pics and you're decent looking, you don't even have to really know what the hell you're doing.
I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy. Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah.
If you were hot 40 years ago, that's nice, but what a waste.
Yeah.
Be hot now. This is the time to be hot.
I'm telling you,
know
man,
it?
I don't see how there should be a gym on every fucking street corner.
Huh.
I'm telling you, there should be gyms across the street from gyms for the money that can be made for these girls.
Yeah.
In Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
and
wild.
maybe it'll pass out. Maybe it's a fad, you know, for the next couple years. But Jesus, right now, man, some of these girls are killing it.
Yeah. I don't know that the hot girl fad will ever pass. I mean,
That's fair. That's fair.
that's probably going to stick around for a while.
But I'm talking about the companies willing to pay them what they're paying now.
As long as there's guys with adrenaline and a hard dick, they're going to be paying it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I mean, guys
Well, I
are a
was
very easy market.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I say that is I was listening to a Jay Leno interview, and he was talking about stand-up comics, and he was talking about stand-up comics in the early 80s, between 80 to 85, were getting paid around his time. You know, he started in the 70s, I think. I don't think maybe he started way earlier than that. But anyway, he was talking about between the 80 and 85, and he said stand-up comedy wasn't huge in clubs. He said what really wasn't a big thing. He said there was little clubs, but it was like guy would come out, tell a few jokes, jazz band would play a little bit, then guy would come out, tell a few things. It wasn't like full-on comedy clubs in the late 70s, I guess, or the ones that you know, like the Benny somebody. I mean, he just talked about all those guys. They would play at these basically jazz bars
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. But he said in the early 80s, it was like a peak, and they would pay these comics, stand-up comics, a good amount of money. And then they started figuring out in the late 80s that everybody was wanting to become a stand-up comic. And then they figured, well, shit, man, we don't have to pay these guys a whole lot of money because they're everywhere.
Right.
And that's kind of where I was going with these girls. You know, you got these huge this huge amount of money getting paid to these girls right now. But when the market just floods, you know, they'll back off that thing. It's almost like YouTube used to pay pretty good money when they monetized your thing.
Right.
But now that guys like us and everybody else is doing a lot of videos, you know, they're backing off a lot of those monetization things now because there's so many people putting out content.
But I think if you notice, more and more of the girls are getting more and more sponsors, you know.
Right.
So rather than just sticking with one,
Yeah.
I think they're trying to broaden themselves out.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to touch on, so you talked about the jazz clubs and all that.
Mhm.
Going back to that Romeo and Juliet, so they had this live little jazz, this little older,
God, what was his name?
I don't know.
Joe told me it was his name.
But this guy, he just had a bass guitar and then a guy on like a Casio organ, and they were playing jazz music in the background
yeah,
while they were doing.
undertone music, which
Yeah.
we're gonna bring into here a little bit. you
Yeah.
know.
But I'm gonna tell you, if you closed your eyes and all you could hear was the music,
Yeah.
you didn't know if you're gonna open them and see Romeo and Juliet or 80s porn, because
man,
that
they had it.
that music, I'm telling you, it was smooth and silky and just background music. It was unbelievable. I liked it. I really liked it.
Boom, boom, boom.
But what was cool, the guy had a hoodie on part of it. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
yeah, yeah,
noticed.
yeah.
I'd peek over, and he'd play with a hoodie, and so it just looked dark right here.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he would just play, and he would just hit that bass guitar.
I've always that
And
good
I
bass
just
riff. Yeah,
thought it was just cool as hell. And
yeah,
I was
man.
like, all
If
right.
I owned a little whiskey sipping bar, so to speak, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You know, somebody just some place with a little class or whatever. I would definitely pay that dude just
Oh,
stand in the corner,
man.
just play that, just play what you feel, man. Play what you
Yeah.
feel. But God, I can't remember his name, but he was slick,
He
man.
was.
He was super slick, and he
Yeah.
played for 3 hours.
3 hours and killed it.
Yeah, I mean there were some parts where I think he backed off when they were doing the major parts of the line.
Yeah.
But as things were changing in the show, he was the mood music, man.
He filled the gaps.
Oh my
You
God,
know?
he did such an awesome job.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you, you put that guy on a porn set, play the same exact music. He wouldn't have to learn new notes or nothing.
Nothing, man. He'd be
Killed it. Absolutely killed it. And that's what I was thinking of as they were playing through there. It was just kind of funny to me.
It's like, hey man, I'd like to pay you to come over and play while I'm making love to my lady.
Making sweet love, baby.
God, he could set the tone, couldn't he?
Oh, man. What you saying?
That and a few little candles, man. He'd be over in that back.
Yeah. Shit, I bet that dude will even light a candle for you.
Yeah.
You know?
He seemed to be all in, didn't he?
He seemed like he was definitely in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We need to find out who he is. Maybe he'd cut us some tracks for us.
if we still have a program from the play, it would be easy because it had his whole biography on
Oh,
there.
did it?
Mhm.
Man, we need to find that dude. We need to get him to play us cut us a little undertone track.
Well, I'll tell you what's funny is I actually read up on him, and he's actually a guitarist for, I don't know if it was that church, but a church.
Oh, I believe it, man. He's just
So yeah, he's a church guy, even
Yeah.
though you may not look at him and think that.
oh yeah, he had that long beard, man. It was
Gray streaks
yeah,
in
gray
it.
streak. He was a black gentleman, and he had the longest beard I think I've ever seen a black guy have
Yeah.
that that I honestly can remember.
Mhm.
That damn thing had to be 6 to 8 inches long
Yeah.
off his chin,
Yeah.
and it was like almost like a sorcerer's point,
Yeah.
and it was black obviously, but it had a lot of gray streaks in it.
And he had a gray hoodie that he would throw up.
Yeah.
And he would just sit there and just slap that thing.
Oh,
Boy.
man.
Yeah. And it
He
was
was awesome, man.
it was nice. It was really nice.
Yeah, man. I wonder what it would take to get him to do some stuff for us.
I don't think it would take much, you know. Hell, I mean, he could stand right here and do it. It will just sit there and banter back and forth and let this guy just sit here and just
play.
hammer it out,
Oh,
boy.
that'd make great video.
Yep.
That'd make great video.
So, oh yeah, the jazz is what I that was the last thing really that and I'm done now. I won't bring up the Romeo and Juliet anymore. So
That's all good. That's all
but
good, man.
I will say this: that the clientele, I don't know what I expected, but some of the audience members, I don't know what I really didn't expect anything, but there was one girl that was distractingly attractive there.
Oh, combat boots.
No, I'm talking about the one that showed up late.
Oh shit! Yes,
sat right behind
I'm glad
you.
you. Holy smoke!
Like she was probably 25% Asian and the rest white, but she was
Yeah,
distractingly beautiful.
Yeah.
That girl.
yeah.
And
she disappeared kind of quick too.
She did.
I
think
wonder.
she was Romeo's girl,
You-
literally.
Yeah, it was.
I think
what's
so.
that guy's name? Brandon, Brent, or Brandon?
You know,
I'm horrible with names. If you're listening to this, I'm just absolutely horrible.
Huh.
But if that's your lady, if you end up listening to this and that's your lady, dude, you're doing all
Boy.
right.
yeah, that one right there.
You're doing okay, boss.
She came in late and
Because I remember
almost
me and
wrecked-
you, me and you both like, them chairs start sliding as they're turning angles.
Oh, it was crazy, man.
But old combat boots she had a little bit of eye too there.
Yeah.
Initial, she was.
But no, but it was a fun group,
Yeah.
and then they had an intermission, and they had Little Debbie's and a Coke or whatever.
Did you hear me ask that guy if these were special brownies? And
Oh,
he
yeah.
goes, I don't know what would make them special. I was like, and then the girl goes, and And I was just trying to be funny, you know what I'm saying? Because, artists, they might try to throw a little extra in there. And I think the one girl didn't. The one girl may have worked for the damn church and didn't find it as funny as maybe I did. And so I guess what'd she say? They were bought at Publix.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it makes them pretty special.
Yeah, well,
I bought one. I bought one
Out of guilt?
guilt.
well, what I have found is through my travels, I might be naive about a lot of things, but they don't find drug jokes funny at church. So that I've learned in life. So,
I was just trying to lighten up thing, but she did not find.
no.
She didn't find my humor.
Pay your $2 and move it on, pal.
Yeah,
That was their
exactly.
attitude.
Yeah. She looked at me like I was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I just asked her for something totally off the wall.
Yeah. Pull a titty out.
Yeah, please. She's like, they're made in Publix.
Yeah. So, oh
Publix
well.
made them a little bit, and I'm sure they're very good. Then let me get one of those.
Yeah. I even dipped into that pot myself.
Oh, did
so,
you?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right, man. Well, speaking of titties, we'll probably wrap this thing up here, and then maybe if we can convince the other groups, rest of the group, we might go out and venture the sweet town of Birmingham tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And look at some titties.
Is that well? If they're out to be looked at, why don't you
Yeah.
hit us on that old number 2 and then that number 1, and we'll get out of this thing.
Copy that. All right, guys. See you next week.
All right, bud.
This is the Furlough Podcast, brought to you by All American Ford in Aniana, Alabama. Stop by and see John Makovica and his team today.